Hello everyone, welcome back to This Idiot Reads Creepypastas. Today on the menu we got Sonic.exe, so if you guys enjoy this content, like, subscribe, comment, and have a good day. Bye guys. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics every once in a while. I don't think I've ever played any glitched or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started during a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed because I liked how you can explore towns in it, until I noticed out of my vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing that was inside the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note, which I took inside shortly after. I looked at the note first. I realized it was from my dear friend Carl. Let's just call him that. Which I haven't heard from for about 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though it was weird how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. Here's what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I have to get rid of this thing somehow before it's too late. I was hoping you would do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me. And if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. It's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, or else he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it was just a game, right? I couldn't have been more wrong. Anyway, I looked at the disc, and it looked like any other ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had black marker hand written on it saying Sonic.exe, and it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, which means he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it since I'm such a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome! Because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place was when I pressed start. There was a split-second image when I saw the title screen turn into something completely different. Something I now considered horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened. The title album was rushed and ruined. Sega 1991 was now Sega 666. And the water had turned red, but like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with 2 glowing dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched even wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about the image when I saw it, though I figured maybe it was just a glitch, and forgot about it after cut to black. It stayed like that for 10 seconds or so. Another weird thing happened. The slave file from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up. I was like, What the hell? What is this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was the dark cloudy sky, that bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD. There were only 3 save files. The music was that creepy caverns of winter music from Earthbound. Only it was extended, and it seemed to be in reverse. And the image for the save file where you preview the level on this is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It only showed Tails, Knuckles, and even to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now, I was sure something was up. I mean, how could you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized right then and there, this wasn't a glitchy game. It must have been a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was rather creepy, but I'm a smart gamer. I wasn't scared, or that's at least what I told myself. That's it, just a hacked game. Nothing wrong about that. Anyway, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. That's when I selected and got started. The game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded awful. It sounded awful, like that one guy from Final Fantasy before cutting the black. The screen stayed like that for about 10 seconds or more. Then it showed the typical title level thing, except simplistic shapes were in all different shades of red. The text only showed Hill Act 1. The screen faded in. The level title was vanishing and revealed Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was a little bit different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had Tails running like he would in any of the other Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level and there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for like 5 minutes. That peaceful music started to lower down and into slow, deep tones, very slowly, and as I kept going, I suddenly saw something. I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the floor, bleeding. That's when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face. I'd never seen him like that before. So I have him move along, and he kept that worried look on his face as he kept moving. I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more wounded as the music lowered. And he moved past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how all of them died. They looked like someone killed them in rather gruesome ways. Like a squirrel hanging by a tree that had a parrot that had his tendrils hanging out. A bunny had 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre. Apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails moving. After a minute passed, the music had stopped. Tails was running up a hill, and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there, on the other side of the screen, with his back turned against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked rather happy to see Sonic, but his smile flattened, obviously noticing Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting as if he was totally oblivious to Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't moving my keyboard to make him move, so this had to be a cutscene. Suddenly, I began to having a growing feel of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt Tails was in danger, and something bad was gonna happen. I heard faint static grow louder as Tails was inches away from Sonic and had stopped, and struck his hand out to touch him. That foreboding feeling was in my gut, growing stronger and stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open. They were just like the ones that were in the title image, though there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black with the static sound turned off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared forming the message. At this point, I was really creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me. When I was taken to a different level, and the title said, Hide and Seek. This time I was in Angel Island from Sonic 3, and everything looked like it was on fire. Tails looked like he was scared out of his mind this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures at me, as if he wanted to get out of the area as fast as possible. Now I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was literally breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get out of there. So I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could to make him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme where you meet Shadow at the ARK as Robotnik from Sonic Adventures 2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly, I heard that creepy laugh again. At this point, I was really creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me. When I was taken to a different level, and the title said, Hide and Seek. This time I was in Angel Island from Sonic 3, and everything looked like it was on fire. Tails looked like he was scared out of his mind this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures at me, as if he wanted to get out of the area as fast as possible. Now I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was literally breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get out of there. So I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could to make him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme where you meet Shadow at the ARK as Robotnik from Sonic Adventures 2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly, I heard that creepy laugh again. At this point, I was really creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me. When I was taken to a different level, and the title said, Hide and Seek. This time I was in Angel Island from Sonic 3, and everything looked like it was on fire. Tails looked like he was scared out of his mind this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures at me, as if he wanted to get out of the area as fast as possible. Now I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was literally breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get out of there. So I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could to make him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme where you meet Shadow at the ARK as Robotnik from Sonic Adventures 2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly, I heard that creepy laugh again. That god-awful laugh that made chills go down my spine. After about 10 seconds have passed, as I was helping Tails run through the forest, and I started seeing flashes of Sonic everywhere on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining on him. Flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose wasn't what his sprite was making looking very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD. Except it was just Sonic, and he had those black and red eyes again. Only this time, he had a more deranged looking grin on his face. He looked like he was enjoying the torment he was giving to the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, Tails tripped. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails lied there crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kinda teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic's as a grin slowly grew from his face. As he looked down at the horrified fox, I could do nothing but watch. In just a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails before the screen went to black and there was a loud screeching noise that only lasted for 5 seconds. The text returned, only this time it said, and that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked about what had happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be the best of friends, right? Why would Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off, and I was brought back to the character select screen. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which had that flickering red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding, and his orange fur had gone black. And he had the expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. That laugh came again. The screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time, the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out right now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of twisted joke or anything really. Despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The level looked so much more different. It had the ground of the scrap brain zone, but the sky looked like the main menu. It had the dark reddish cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like the theme right after you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles was looking afraid, just like Tails did, though not as much. More rather, he looked just a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails did, and he looked at me as if he wasn't sure what's going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker red static a couple times. Then that maddening laugh came again. Then after a couple of seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated walking down this bloodstained road, but I still kept him moving. Suddenly, Knuckles ran. Sonic appeared right in front of him, with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but a black screen with text saying, I was now scared out of my mind. Sonic found Knuckles already? What is going on? Anyway, the red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill's final boss was playing. Was this kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it really wasn't. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right in front of Knuckles, in what appeared to be in pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again. Then I made him punch him again, and Sonic vanished again laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and I felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with both of us. He was playing a sick little twisted mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black again, with more distorted screeching that lasted for 3 seconds, and then another message appeared.
So many souls to play with. So little time. Wouldn't you agree?
What the hell? Just what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game. I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray, and his dreadlocks were draping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are actual characters, trapped between those TV screens on the save files. But I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut the game off and took a break. I took a nap, but I wish I hadn't, 'cause I had the most violent and disturbing nightmares. I was in pitch blackness. I was under a lamp giving off a light that hung behind my head. I could hear cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby, saying stuff like, "Help us," and why did you give us to him? And run away before he gets you too. Their cries died out, and then I heard Sonic's laugh. His laugh.
You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle. Though he didn't last long, did he? It won't be long now until you join him. And all my other friends.
I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out in several directions.
You can't run, kid. You're in my world now. Just like the others.
When he grabbed me, I saw his bleeding black and red eyes, grinning face. I woke up with a fright. After a couple hours, I decided to continue playing through the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that it was wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title appeared again. This time it said just 3 dots, which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though. It had the pixelated style. The floor was shiny and textured, and the walls were darkish grayish purple, with animated candlelight and a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a red curtain hanging above the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, the curtain swayed very slowly. But whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly present. A piano playing a rather sad but peaceful song. But I knew better. This was the song that played in Hill Act 1, only it wasn't in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he had a suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I just left him standing. He turns his head to the left and then to the right, at least twice, and then he shrugs at me as if he has no idea where he was or what is going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue forward. He did his usual running animation, you know, when you beat him at the end of a classic Sonic game and you chase him. As we continued through the hallway, then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downwards. Now, I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself, though I pressed onwards. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I tried to go back with Robotnik, but he just kept falling down the stairs. I noticed the walls have gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches were now eerily blue. Then we landed onto another hallway. This one was just longer than the last one, or at least it felt like it. Then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. Then I heard that goddamn laugh again. The music slowly faded until it was quiet, as did the walls, turning more dark red, and the torches were now a black flame. When Robotnik landed into the third hallway, I noticed now he looked more creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped right out in front of Robotnik, like he did the same way with Knuckles. And then red static. The static lasted for about 15 seconds until it showed me the most unpleasant image. The image was a hyper-realistic Sonic standing in the darkness, where you can only see his face and his head, and his torso fade to black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looks so real. You could actually see the lines in his blue fur, and you can actually feel the fur if you touch the screen. And his face, oh my god, he had the most horrifying smile I have ever seen. And that's when I considering something I saw at the start of the game. His eyes were black once again and crying blood, which also looked very realistic. And the two small red glowing dots staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the sides of his face like a werewolf, except Sonic had fangs. Very, very sharp fangs. Much like vampire teeth or something. Except more vicious looking and somewhat yellowish from the looks of it. He had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and his fangs, as if he ate some kind of animal. I stared into that gruesome image for about 30 seconds, never taking my mind off of it. I felt as if he was actually looking and smiling at me. The face just took 10 seconds to etch itself into my mind for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times, and on the 3rd time, I heard the goddamn laugh again. It sounded different this time, demonic. It went back to the image again, except there was text again, though I thought it was messed up. But this must have been one of the most horrifying things I had to look at in this entire game. It was when I was reading that message, while Sonic was looking at me, I realized right then and there. Then it stopped, showed nothing but a black screen. As I sat there staring at the black screen, one last text message came up.
Ready for round 2.
That dreaded laugh happened again. It was sounding more clear, as if Sonic was standing right behind me. It played again 3 times. As I looked at that text with shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu. This time, the 3rd file had a TV image of Robotnik in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray, and his mustache drooped and had blackened. His glasses broke, and blood coming from them. He had a mere dead expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried again. I pitied for them, for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that goddamn hedgehog, and always will be. The red static popped up again. Quickly, an image of Sonic and Tails in some moving hell fire sky, being red. Sonic and the sun emerging and lighting him. He also had 2 white angel wings, and he was carrying Tails away by his shoes. Tails was screaming for help on his face. On this image it was evident, and right below, in big letters, were "Game Over." But also a reverse, creepy, relaxing piano melody was playing over the image while I was still in beating strong. Sonic's a monster. A pure, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster. And all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, possible even Kyle, are all just his toys in the game. And this is the very gateway to his chaotic, nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. quick red static popped up once again, and an image with Japanese, white, small letters showed up, which translates to, "There is a way to release ourselves, a spell to attain our souls once more. But when we speak it, no sound, we are all deaf. So failure is inevitable, and I regret entering my internal bet with the devil inside of me. Immortality versus Snow Statue. Gary Cook versus Jake Sherman. Ambition is overrated." The background of the text was red and black art, while this image with the text is still being shown. A chanting of Muslims can be heard. Now it clicks the Sonic, which you can play while a bit of static is shown, so you can move and play as Sonic in some static world. I move forward and see a mutilated body on a stick with big letters stating,
You had a chance to comply. Now you've come too far.
Then, as I walked away from that, there is a mechanical metal grabber / claw gripping a small mutilated body with red drops dripping off of it. As I kept walking, I see another one, while a skeleton's face pops up, but Sonic's gameplay is still being seen. Then the skeleton face disappearing. Also, in this unknown level, music is somewhat soothing as creepy also. Metal was being scratched, combined with whistling, and more. How could I even explain it? In the second claw, I see the same one as the earlier. Text with it next to big white letters stating, Then a female scream is heard in the face of a woman in black and white, quickly appearing and then leaving. Her eyes were pretty and cute, though, despite having her face in black and white. Then I continued walking, and a skeleton face does the same thing, and the same scream is heard once again. I see another mutilated body. Looks like a sword made out of flesh and hearts. Then I keep walking. I see another one of those grabbers with text stating, I walk reading this text. I see a lot of grabbers with around the text, and then I keep walking and see another grabber with the text. I kept walking, now with an overwhelming sense of fear and dread, feeling once again. After reading the text, then remaining walking, I see another stick with the text. Then a pink-black swirling optical illusion replaces half of static. I was walking through and with a reverb telephonic sound, and then I see 3 grabbers are shown after the text. Then I keep walking in that optical illusion with the path below, the static, and then I see multiple words on my path, and while I was walking, stating obey multiple times. Then I kept seeing the word again and again and again, while a woman starts screaming again. And then the status for everything, my rings, my time, everything slowly fades. As I kept walking, I see the final two grabbers, one small holding a small body with blood dripping from it, and one holding a big body with blood dripping from it. Then the gameplay of me who was walking and my path fades. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly, with his mouth wide open and unnatural length. And that Sonic, his face and teeth were demonic, and red blood was dripping from his mouth, and that length, it revealed nothing but a literal dark spiraling abyss before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted, so loud it hurt. I grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then a satanic-like image of Sonic with red eyes, mouth, and horns popped up. While the background of the image was moving static, and then the woman screamed again. It cuts to Japanese text stating one final message, which translates to, "Be honest, be honest, be honest, be honest." And then another one popping up stating in English, "I was killed, massacred, and angry. I killed until all my strength was gone, and yet they die only for amusement, for the devil who rose to torture me." The background for both texts were red and black this time. Then the computer just shut itself off. I couldn't turn it on. It was black, no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified about what just happened. Sonic is crazy, the very embodiment of an evil. He tortures people who plays his games in more ways than one. And then, when he gets bored, he drags you into the game, literally dragging you into hell, where he can play with you always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there. At least I managed to turn it back on for now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like in a whisper.
Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom.
I turned around to see what the voice was coming from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under its eyes. Yep, that's it. That's the entire video. Yeah, I know it's so long, but I worked really, really hard on it, so I hope you guys liked it. Like I said at the beginning, if you like these kinds of videos, consider liking, subscribing, or even just commenting. Any of those show me that you really like these. So have a good day, and bye bye.